All right, so here's some indications of being in the safety state. Hopefully it all makes sense, at least enough, but some potentially easy ways. I'll say easy, but it might not be easy, and I respect that. But some potential ways to tell if you're in the safety state or not. Number one, you'll feel safe. I mean, that's kind of obvious and ridiculous, but you'll feel safe. You will feel in your body. You'll feel more present. You'll feel more aware. You'll have more experiential awareness of what's happening in your senses. You'll have, and this might be the biggest one, at least that I notice, especially as someone who's super like introverted, we'll call it, or has a home away from home of shutdown. There is this impulse to connect with others. And that is something that I definitely notice is like, oh, I'm kind of okay with talking to people right now. Or when I get to work in the morning, I'm actually kind of okay with saying hello and greeting people. And like, that's different. So that might be for me, that's the biggest indication is that I can actually have this impulse to connect and smile and like talk to people and have more vocal prosody and whatnot. So that's my experience. That's for me, that's like a clear way of noticing, but also that noticing those sensory experiences really that when I'm in my safety state, that I notice what things smell like, what things taste like on a much deeper level, and I'm more curious. Another indication, number two, of being in your safety state is that you'll be able to smile. You'll probably feel an impulse to smile. And when you're not in your safety state, you simply cannot do that, or at least it won't be genuine. If you're in more of a flight fight, like worked up, anxious, aggressive, irritable, depressed, shutdown kind of state maybe, or depression and shutdown are different than flight fight. Sorry to jumble those. But if you're in more of a defensive state, you kind of lack the ability to smile. For the most part, you lack the ability to smile. And if you do, it doesn't feel genuine. It'll feel forced. And maybe you can smile, but your upper eye area, your upper cheeks, they won't move along with your fake smile. So if you're in a safety state, that's a really good way to tell is that you can smile. I mean, like right now, I don't know what your capacity is to smile, but try it out and see if it feels genuine or not. I know for me, when I do these presentations or talks, I get a little bit more worked up. I'm more of a flight energy. I do feel safe enough. I can connect. I can think critically for the most part. But I also notice that I have more energy in my system. So my capacity to just like slow down is way less. And my capacity to smile, it's there. I can do it. But it's definitely different than if I was just hanging out at home, relaxing with a friend or my family or whatever. And that kind of smile's different. So I don't know, just check in with yourself. What's your capacity to smile? Does it feel genuine or no? If no, then you probably might be in more of a defensive state. Not that you're actually running away or fighting, but just like that energy is kind of present there. Think about the last time that you were upset at somebody. Maybe kids, a spouse, a loved one, your boss, coworker, whoever it is. So think about that last time and then ask yourself, in that moment where you were in that very irritable, anxious, aggressive, whatever it is, were you able to smile? Could you smile then? The last time you got in an argument with someone, could you have stopped and smiled? Probably not, because you were not in your safety state enough to be able to do so. All right, number three, this is the last one I have, and then I'm going to talk about how safety can actually be uncomfortable. Number three, breathing becomes easier when you're in the safety state. This could be a really good way of identifying whether or not you're in your safety state. Breathing becomes easier. I do see a couple of questions. I'll get to those. I'm going to get through the main stuff, and I'll get to the questions as well. So number three, breathing becomes easier in the safety state. You'll be able to take deeper breaths into your belly. When we're in more of a defensive state, our breath tends to go in our chest, or I say into our shoulders. It doesn't actually go in your shoulders, but when you're tense, like the chest comes out and shoulders go up. Like all this stuff moves when you're in a more defensive flight fight kind of state. When you're in your safety state, when those pathways are active, you can breathe calmer into your belly, and this area up here doesn't really do a whole lot. So I would invite you right now, take a deep breath and see where it goes. Just kind of be curious about where your breath wants to go, where it naturally goes. Notice if your shoulders are moving up. Notice if your chest comes out, or notice if your belly kind of expands. That's what we want, is for the belly to expand. That indicates you're in a safety state. So yeah, notice where your breathing goes right now. Just kind of be curious about it and see where it goes. I know when I work in therapy, my clients that are in more of a flight fight kind of energy, who are really tense or like worked up, they're leaning forward, they're speaking quicker. When I ask them to breathe deeply into their belly, like it's difficult. It is not easy. They tense up, they grab the chair and they go, it is not easy. But it's important to recognize that and just kind of notice and be more mindful of what it feels like to do so.